Hello everybody and welcome. In this video we are going to analyze an exercise that can help improve running performance. First, let's look at the movement. As you can see, the movement is a hurdle drill. You can also see me freezing some degrees of freedom and therefore move my arms quite awkwardly. So for the sake of this video, let's take the arm movement out of account. In order to analyze why this movement is so good for developing running performance, we're going to analyze all the components in depth. The first component we're going to analyze is the movement of the hips. As you can clearly see when I freeze the frame, during the stance phase the hip of the swing leg is placed more upwards compared to the hip of the stance leg. This position is called the hip lock position and is assumed to be very important in running performance. As you can see on this photo, elite runners like Usain Bolt have this hip lock position. The hip lock position is speculated to help extend the stance leg more forcefully due to something called the crossed extension reflex, which is a movement that facilitates rapid extension of the stance leg while flexing in the hip of the swing leg. An exercise that can help perform the hip lock is shown in this video, where the goal of the athlete is to pull the foot in front without scraping off the ground and force him in a hip lock position. Another important component of running performance is the ankle movement just before ground contact. As you can see in this photo of Usain Bolt, his ankle is in a dorsiflexed position. This position allows him to use the passive structures of the ankle in the most optimal way and let the tendons work as a spring during ground contact and therefore move more efficiently. The importance of this spring-like behavior of the tendons is supported by research of Richards et al. He found that during running performance of turkeys, the elastic energy recovery from the tendons accounted for more than 60% of the work produced by the legs. A reduction in this workload produced by the muscle fibers will eventually lead to a reduction in energy cost and therefore will be more efficient. When we look at my performance, we can clearly see the ankle loses stiffness during ground contact, especially in the hop in between both hurdles. This means I'm losing elastic energy and have to compensate this by producing more muscular work. In order to improve this, an exercise like pogo hops can be used, where the focus is to actively dorsiflex the ankle. The entire movement should be produced by the movement of the ankles, and knee and hip flexion should be limited. Another exercise that can be used are skippings on an elevated surface. The leg on the elevated surface will reach ground contact earlier than expected. If the ankle isn't stiff, the movement will not succeed, and therefore it is helpful to give feedback about the ankle position during skippings. The last aspect that is evaluated is the movement of the swing leg. As you can see in this clip, I'm hammering my leg down instead of retracting it forcefully, which is viewable by the limited hip extension just before ground contact. Maintaining this triple extension and retracting the leg just before ground contact is called the swing leg retraction, a technique that is present in elite runners, as you can see in this photo of Usain Bolt. He is retracting his leg while maintaining hip, knee and ankle extension just before ground contact. This swing leg retraction is also viewable in more agility-based skills, such as changing direction or single leg vertical jumping. As you can clearly see in this photo, the Japanese athlete maintains a hip extended position just before he reaches the ground. In order to improve this aspect of the skill, we can eliminate the hurdles and therefore make the skill easier to execute, and the athlete is able to focus on extending his hips forcefully. Another option is to do skippings, where the only focus of the skipping is retracting the leg forcefully and extending the hips near ground contact. After this analysis, the video comes to an end. I know we haven't analyzed all the technical components of the drill, but I've chosen to highlight the 3 most important aspects, and I hope you have a better understanding in how these aspects influence running performance and how they can be improved during this running drill or with some additional exercises.